Dear students, welcome again to the course of Entrepreneurial Finance. I'm your course instructor, Shehzad Khan Durrani, lecturer, Institute of Business Studies, Cohort University of Science and Technology, Hango campus. In today's lecture, we will discuss management buyouts and leveraged buyouts. Our outline, it includes buyouts. First, we will try to define buyout and understand the basic concept of buyout. Then we will discuss the types of buyouts, and it includes leverage buyouts and management buyouts. And at the end, we will try to explain this concept and give examples of each of the type of buyouts. So let's start. We will start from the basic concept of the buyout. We will try to understand this. So buyout, by definition, it is the purchase of a company or a controlling interest of a company's share. So simply we can say that using external sources of funds, right? So buyout is the restructuring strategy when business fails. When your business fails, for example, so it is one of the strategy that's called the restructuring strategy. It is one of the type of merger or acquisition, you can say, because internal restructuring of the organization is quite time consuming and costly sometimes. But buyout is one of the exit strategy that can be costly too, but the advantage here is that its growth occurs in a faster rate as compared to other strategies like the restructuring of the organization. Inorganic growth strategy. Inorganic growth strategy buyout because it helps the organization to grow with the existing assets using the existing employee and organization, and of course faster ways to grow. De-investment, or you can call it the retrenchment strategy, large company succession problem. Some companies that have the problem, nobody is going to own them, nobody is going to operate them, nobody is going to run the activities of the business. So what they have to do, they can go for downsizing. They can downsize some of the portions of the business, some of the units of the business. So at that time, buyout can be the best solution for them. What are some of the types that are leveraged buyouts and management buyouts? So let's see. There are two common types of buyouts, and they are the leverage buyouts. We also call it LBO. And we have the management buyouts. We call it MBO. What is leverage buyouts, right? So leverage buyouts, actually purchase price of a firm is financed largely with debt financial capital. So if a company wants to buy another company, so they can raise capital through two ways. One is its own fund, that's called equity, and the other is the debt, that they can borrow the money, right? So here we are actually borrowing the money, debt financial capital. MBO are special type of LBO. That is the leverage buyouts. It's a special when the firm's top management, it's the most important head, the top management here in this definition, continues to run the firm. They wants to run the firm, they have their own interest in the firm, and has a substantial equity position in the reorganized firm, and they want to have shares of the organization. So that's called MBO, management buyouts. So let's see. So in buyouts, there are two companies actually. The one is the company that is called acquired company, the one who wants to have the other company, the one who wants to buy the other company. That's called the acquired company. And the other one is called the target company, right? The other one is called the target company. The one which you are going to target, the one which you are going to buy is called the target. So buying the majority of shares by the acquiring company, you are trying to buy the majority of the shares. The purpose is to get over the control of the target company. Why you want to buy it? Why you want to buy most of the shares of the target company? Because you want to have a control over the other company. Now we will go for some explanation. Here, the asset or cash flows of the target company will be used as a collateral, right? Collateral security, leverage asset, and cash flows for the borrowed funds. Clear? What does it mean, right? So look at this table. In this table, you can see the asset and the equity, right? The total assets is $7.5 billion. It is actually, let me explain this way. It is actually the company that you are going to buy. Let's say it's B, the target company, and this is the A, the acquire. The company is going to buy the B company. So the total assets of B is $7.5 billion. Let's say, right? The A who wants to borrow the other company possess, for example, the owner equity of $2.5 billion, right? The total assets of the B, for example, is $7.5 billion, right? So there is a lake of $5 billion, right? So they are going to borrow it, right? Let's say they are going to the bank, right, to borrow that amount. Let's say the A is going to the bank and the bank wants some guarantee from them. So they are saying that all the assets in the cash flows, the collateral security, if I'm not paying the money on time, so you can have a claim on that assets of B, right? So that's actually called what? The leverage buyouts. They are settling an agreement, right? So they are going to they are going to borrow $5 billion with a 10% interest rate. How much? $5 billion, right? How much? With a 10% of interest rate they are going to borrow it from a bank, right? So this is what the leverage buyout, right? This concept is called what? The average buyout. Why they are going to, for example, they can invest their own money and they can go to the bank if there is a lack of money. So in this case, there is a lack of money. So that's why they are going to the bank. Now, let's see. Look at this table now. In this table, you can see the particulars in the amount, right? Earning before, look at this one. Earning before interest and taxes is $1 billion, right? The company's earning before interest and taxes is $1 billion, right? So you went to the bank and you, for example, you borrowed $5 billion with a 10%. So the 10% of $5 billion is 5 million, right? 5 million interest you are going to pay, and the earning before income and taxes is interest and taxes is $5 billion. Then the interest is $5 million, and the other taxes, for example, you are going to reduce it by this amount, and earning after taxes is 350 million, right? That is the case when you are going to borrow some amount of money from the bank, when there is a lack of money with you. You want to raise capital, right? Debt, financial capital. Now look at another slide. This slide, for example, you have the sufficient amount of money. Earning before interest and taxes is $1 billion. You are not going to the bank because you have the sufficient amount of money, so your interest is zero. After deducting the other taxes, right, you are getting the earning after taxes is $700 million. which is double of the amount when you were going to borrow the amount from the bank. So it means that if you have your own money, you have the owner's equity, that you can buy the company, that will be the best choice for you. Then you don't need to go to the bank to buy or to demand some loan. Now, management buyouts, reasons of selling out business. Why the person wants to sell its business, right? Why? The reasons are: the first one, owners lacking interest. The owner is no more interested in the business. Maybe he's busy in some other things. Maybe he has some problems. Maybe he has some financial issues. Or it can be any other reasons. Owners lost faith. It can be he's not, for example, trusting on the employees. He just lost his faith. So management shows interest at that time because the business has the potential to grow. If the business has the potential to grow, the management is there. They want to invest their own money, right? So they want to invest their own money in the business because they are thinking for their own future. And that's called management buyouts, when the management is interested to buy the shares of the company, right? So management need funds to purchase the business. So management also need funds. Again, the sources of funds for the management are the same, right? The first source, that can be equity. We can also call it owner's equity, their own sources of funds, right? The second, they can go to bank, borrowed funds, debt, right? That can be another source of money. Or they can approach to venture capitalists, the people who have the money, who can provide the money to your businesses, right? So venture capital, they can approach them as well. So that's called management buyouts. So we discussed leverage buyouts and management buyouts. These are the references that I used while making my slides. Thank you, dear students. Thank you.